Isu perumahan mampu milik sentiasa menjadi fokus dan juga perkara yang dibincangkan di peringkat Malaysia dan juga di global. Di UN Habitat Assembly kali kedua yang dilakukan pada 5 hingga 9 hari bulan ini juga, hal berkaitan dengan perumahan adalah salah satu daripada tunjang kepada perbahasan dan juga perbincangan secara keseluruhannya selama 5 hari ini. Tapi projek Swiss Cube yang berada di belakang saya ini menarik perhatian kami kerana dianya bercerita mengenai bagaimana mencari solusi kepada hal-hal yang berkaitan dengan rumah mampu milik, bagaimana teknologi yang dikaitkan dengan kearifan lokal ataupun disesuaikan dengan budaya tempatan dan sekaligus dapat menyelesaikan beberapa masalah khususnya yang berkaitan dengan projek setinggan contohnya. Dan ini adalah projek yang dilakukan di Rwanda, sebuah negara yang mungkin baru kita lihat kepada bangkit daripada isu hal-hal yang berkaitan dengan peperangan, tetapi inilah yang berlaku di Rwanda dan saya ingin membual bersama Enrico Morriello. Ini adalah salah satu daripada syarikat daripada Switzerland yang melakukan projek dan juga idea ini, di mana kalau dilihat daripada saiz rumahnya ringkas tetapi menarik, berbentuk cube, tapi cukup sesuatu yang dikatakan bahawa mampu berdaya huni. Saya nak bersama dengan Enrico. Hi Enrico, thank you for being with us.
Welcome.
Thank you. Enrico, just do the house tour for this Swiss Cube for African. What the most interesting part for this house, and then tell us the big idea behind it.
Okay, we know that Africa has an increasing population of people living in slums, so we are looking at this one as one of the key solutions to leverage the land values that we have in these cities and transform what is now a slum into a nice and a nice place where actually the residents can live in a very good living conditions.
Show us. This is the living hall. Okay,
yeah. Okay, so this is the living room. The full house is about 50 square meters, 25 on the ground floor, 25 up. It's designed for a family between 4 to 5 people, so we have 2 bedrooms that can be changed even to have more bedrooms. The design is fully customizable.
I assume this is dining area?
This is the dining area, and you can see here is the kitchen. Of course, it's fully customizable. We didn't really need a kitchen for this exhibition, but you can set up your cooking stove, your fridge, washing machine if you want. The appliances can be connected more or less everywhere, so the plumbing can be designed. And what we do with Skat, which is a company designing this for the Swiss cooperation and the government of Rwanda especially, is designing very often these units together with the residents.
How about the toilet? How about the living master bedroom? And
let me guide you.
Yeah.
So the toilet, of course, is very basic. The shower, the sink, toilets is all the basics need. There are models of this house that are a bit larger, so you can also have a toilet on the first floor. Follow me.
Okay.
Actually, I follow.
Okay. 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 Come. Okay, like you mentioned, this is for the family of 4.
Mostly, yes.
Mostly, yes.
So we have the 2 kids, and of course some space for wardrobe, for studying. Of course, they can use also the space below, and some storage space.
And that's will be the master bedroom.
And then this is the master bedroom.
Wow. Spacious.
Of course, like as I was suggesting, this house can be extended. This means that you can have an extra room and even an extra toilet, still keeping these 2 rooms that you see here. So it can adapt also to growing families.
You're saying about the material, but I was asking about the floor mat and the material that we're using as a partition as well. Is it the same module that implement in Rwanda?
In Rwanda, we tested different solutions. There is this one with timber. We decided to go with timber in this specific project here in Nairobi because it's faster.
Okay.
You don't need drying space, you don't need a lot of specialized workforce. But in Rwanda now we're building with Maxpan, which is a type of clay brick that you use also to do the slab. You can use also concrete or econ concrete. It's actually quite flexible.
And this is not just a module house, but it has been built at Rwanda for how many units?
Now we are building with the city of Kigali the second batch of 3 blocks for an additional 100 units. So we can say that with government of Rwanda we built about 250 so far.
250 units.
So we have rehoused...
At the slum area?
Yes, so we have rehoused 250 households that were living in a slum and now are living in a house like this. There are plans to increase and continue this project. So we will have 600 more by 2024. We are planning this with the city, and in the next few years we are planning to rehouse 6,000 families.
And it has been commercialized at Rwanda, and the idea is there's a buy-in idea from the developer?
We work in two ways. One is supporting the government in implementing this as an affordable or social housing solution, but we also support the private sector in replicating this as a more efficient model for their private projects. So, yeah, the private sector like the idea, so right now they build more than 2,000 units just as part of private investment.
When we're asking about, when talking about the affordable housing,
yes,
must be asking about how much the cost for this specific unit.
If I need to tell you a cost, you can build any unit like this between 250 and 300 250 or 300 USD per square meter. Now, the way we are trying to do is not bring this full cost on the residents. They have the ownership of the land, so we are trying to use that as a collateral for contributing to the actual cost of the house. So in many cases you will see that the value of the house, the land they already own, is almost equivalent to the cost of the house. So we are able to rehouse them without a large investment from their side.
Okay, cool. But how the most innovative part to make sure that we can, is it cost sustainable, and then as well, and then at the same time is a livable house for the people?
Okay, it's a multi-layer approach. It starts.
Can we go outside there? Because I can see that there's a certain machine that's quite interesting machine outside there. Okay.
So actually, we can start from here.
Okay.
This is how you start producing the brick.
Okay. That's the idea how we can make this cost effectively for...
This project started in the rural areas where there was no power, very low skilled force. So the project designed this machine to actually produce good quality bricks. And that is the first step. Second step is actually to firing them with bio-waste.
Okay.
So you don't use toxic fuel, you just use bio-waste. So you can achieve to have a brick that is fired using a very low carbon content in fuels. And then you have good quality bricks.
Okay.
The brick itself, as you can see, it has holes in it. It's a cavity wall. It's a cavity brick. This improves the firing process, reduce the amount of fuel that is required, and allow you to use this specific type of brick in this type of cavity wall. This is a structural wall. You can have utilities inside. It generates insulation and allows you to go up with the number of floors, which in the growing city is also a very important need. So this is the wall is built basically. This structure contains some reinforcement, can contain the utilities, is reinforced on the corner.
Because the affordable must be with a good quality of materials.
And must be safe.
And must be safe.
We are building in Rwanda in an area that is also subject to earthquake. So the soil is subject to erosion, to landslides. So we need to build in a way that can be sustainable, but also that can be livable.
Okay, back to the question. How to manage to have the affordable housing with an affordable price, with a livable space for the people? Okay,
that is another step. How do you use this technology to design a good quality house that people like? As you saw from the example, actually this design was developed already in 2015, 2016 and was tested with communities, was tested with architects, engineers, with the final user. So there have been several levels of refinement until achieving a typology and a finishing that people may like. So as I was saying before, it's customizable. If you don't like the timber floor, or you think it's not the appropriate material for your region, for your country, then it can be replaced with different type of slabs. This type of structure can sustain different weight that can allow you to be quite flexible in the way you design it, your slab, your partition.
Having concept, having the idea and design, it's quite considered good for the construction company. and then with the Swiss technology, but to implement on ground with a local council, with the funder, with the developer, and for the people as well, is another story. How do you manage to get the connecting dot between those two?
That's a very, very good question. Actually, we have an ongoing partnership with the government at different levels. There is a partnership signed between the Swiss Corporation and the Ministry of Infrastructure at the central government level. We have another partnership with the city of Kigali, so local government, and we are in partnership with all local associations, so architects, engineers, masons, because in the end we design them, but someone needs to be able to build them. And there is a constant effort to bring everyone on the same table and agree on solutions together. So what we do is we provide a technical assistance to the government, and in the case of Rwanda, they have very clear ideas on what to achieve. So there are very clear indications on the type of support they would require. And this is the type of activity we do. So let's say that in a case like Rwanda, your effort is to keep up with the government demands rather than pushing something on them.
The biggest obstacle, the biggest challenge is to have this idea to be implemented, and in the end of the day, the biggest numbers of people that can own this kind of house.
Okay, there is an initial reluctance, for example, in every government to engage the communities in that. So they always think that at the beginning especially, engaging the community will slow down the process. This is partially true. There is a lot of energy to be put in engaging the communities, making their engagement relevant to the process, make them informed and contributing to it. What we observed, you can have a very slow start, but then the fact that you buy the respect and the trust of the community makes things much faster. This started with an individual building of 10 units 4 or 5 years ago. Now actually more people from the community are reaching to the local government to be part of the next phase of the process. So this is what we generated by demonstrating the efficacy of the process.
Is it the same concept with the same ideas can be implemented to the other side of the world? You're having a vast experience at Southeast Asia. We're still facing, in Malaysia, you're still facing the right techniques to have the affordable housing with a livable quality and with the house. How do you experience, and is it possible to implement this kind of project at the country like Malaysia?
There are two aspects to it. One is the technological aspects, the type of material, the technology you use to assemble it, the typology of the house.
And it's there.
And it's there. And actually we are receiving in this type of event, but also Urban Forum, in last two actually, we received quite a lot of attention from different parts of the world. Local governments and private sector from South America was extremely interested in the typology. We know that they also have quite a big problem with slums and upgrading. Southeast Asia the same. So I would say that the typology, the material, with locally based adaptation is achievable. The process is more complex to implement. So what is the?
Can you define the process?
The process is how you engage the private sector, the public sector, the residents, the owners, the tenants, in a process that is equitable for all the parties involved and profitable enough for the private sector to contribute to this aspect, to the building of this unit at scale. What we want to achieve is mass-scale production of housing, not just one demonstration as you see here.
After all, the ideas of having the affordable housing with a livable quality is not possible if there's interaction between the developer, the conceptual person and experts like you with a developer. How you can ensure that that's a key. If there's any collaboration, the good collaboration can be happen.
And the other aspects that many people often forget is that it's not just about housing, it's about neighborhood. It's about where people live, what are the facilities they can access to, what is the transport services that they can have to access the work, how much employment opportunities they have where they live. So I'm a planner by training, so I start from the larger scale and then I go down towards the architectural aspect. I would say that is an important aspect of this is how the government wants to be part or guide or play a role in this process, because in the end the private sector we know will always try to achieve the maximum margins. At the same time, public sector needs to provide the affordable solution. The residents are always often caught in between. I guess that a balanced solution is achievable, but the process needs to be, I would say, guided properly.
Oh, one more question. How you take the consideration of the culture, of the lifestyle for the people in the slum area to be transformed to this house? Because definitely they have their own culture, their own preference by their housing, but how do you make sure that the transformation of culture, transformation of their lifestyle to have and own this house?
This is another very good question. Okay, there are several aspects to it. We need to consider that we have a rural population that is moving towards urban population. They are used to use charcoal to cook outside. They might have animals. They live on very small, unhealthy ground floor houses. So this is definitely a transition for them. One aspect is guiding this transition through design. So we allow for a backyard and front yard in the design, which is very important in the Rwandan culture, for example. At the same time, we allow some space for temporary cooking outside. When these community members will have a higher income, hopefully they will shift to a different type of cooking methodology. At the same time, when these people move in this kind of house for the first time, we support with some, I would say, training on the way they should use this house. We have stairs, we have windows, we have a different type of equipment. In many cases we saw this house not to be affordable to this community because they were not aware of the cost of running water inside the house or the cost of having a bulb providing light during the night. So even informing them about the different costs of living in an urban environment is extremely important. And then the other element we saw is that at the beginning people are reluctant into going in an apartment type or in a row housing like this. Eventually they appreciate the lifestyle. The community remains intact because we rehouse, we don't relocate. So the family bond, the friendship bond, the community bonding that we had is still there. We also try to have people living next to each other that when there is already this kind of community bonding. So we try not to move people apart, and it's an adaptation. It will require a generation, maybe one or two, but this transition has to happen for our city to grow sustainably. We cannot replicate a sparse single-family house model because, especially in small countries like Rwanda, they just do not have space.
Yeah. Okay, thank you Enrico, thank you very much. It's a
Thank
good
you.
session to have with you. Dan ini saya rasa cukup menarik kerana memberikan perspektif yang lebih luas mengenai kemampuan atau rumah mampu milik. Kerana yang pastinya rumah mampu milik mungkin boleh dibina dengan pembiayaan tertentu pada harga tertentu. Tapi akhirnya persoalannya bagaimanakah ianya mampu berdaya huni, mampu memberikan kualiti hidup yang sempurna ataupun yang lebih baik kepada mereka yang memiliki rumah mampu milik ini. Ini satu persoalan untuk kita di Malaysia. Sejauh manakah kualiti rumah mampu milik di Malaysia diberikan sewajarnya kepada mereka yang membeli, ataupun adakah ianya sekadar separuh masa, ataupun adakah ianya menggunakan teknologi yang baik. Kerana kalau rumah seperti ini menggunakan teknologi tempatan yang dapat mengurangkan kos, tidak bergantung kepada supply change yang begitu meluas dan juga begitu mahal dan susah dikawal, tapi dalam masa yang sama mengadaptasi teknologi yang baik untuk penduduk di dalam rumah ini. Seperti contohnya Swiss Cube ini dijana kuasanya dengan menggunakan teknologi solar. Satu perkara yang berlaku di Rwanda. Mungkin idea yang terbaik bukan sahaja berada di negara-negara maju, tapi negara-negara yang membangun seperti di Rwanda ini. Ini satu perkara yang perlu dipelajari oleh kementerian, khususnya KPKT sendiri, dalam melihat bagaimana memudah carakan idea yang baik, penyelesaian terbaik dihubungkan dengan pendanaan yang baik, dan akhirnya yang mendapat manfaat terbesar ialah rakyat yang akan mendapat rumah yang mampu milik tetapi dengan kualiti yang terbaik serta mampu berdaya huni. Itu persoalan kita di Malaysia dan perlu dijawab oleh mereka yang bertanggungjawab.